Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Rudy Page, and I'm really pleased because today we will be talking about African Fashion Week London, and it's 3 months to go. And our special guest is Queen Ronke Ademiluyi-Ogunwusi. Queen Ronke, how are you today?
Good evening, Rudy. I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
Yeah, all is well. All is well indeed.
Good.
So thank you for joining us on this platform for what I believe is going to be an inspiring and obviously the event AFWL is an important event on the calendar as it relates to the creative industries, the fashion and creative industries. So really look forward to this dialogue with you that can be shared across the diasporas and beyond. And our media partner, Fresh FM Radio London, will be rebroadcasting this dialogue for the next few weeks. So I'd like to start by just asking you to tell us a bit about yourself and your family background.
Okay, Rudy, thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm Queen Ronke Ademiluyi-Ogunwusi. I'm a British Nigerian queen of Ile-Ife Kingdom, Osun State, the southwest of Nigeria. I'm an African fashion expert, an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Africa Fashion Week London and Nigeria, and the co-founder of Africa Fashion Week Brazil. I'm an ambassador of African heritage and culture. I'm an author, and I'm also an advocate for the rights of girls and women across Africa and in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you. So please, what impact has AFWL had on African and Caribbean designers to date?
The impact of the Africa Fashion Week London, on African and Afro-Caribbean designers in the fashion industry has been very, very significant, as we have contributed immensely, to the growth of so many African and Afro-Caribbean designers and also to their success stories as well. So prior to the Africa Fashion Week London in 2011, before its inception, there wasn't a platform that showcased African or Black fashion design talent outside of Africa. So most of the mainstream platforms then, focused on, it's probably because they didn't understand what African fashion was or the entire Black fashion industry. So it was more focused on, the mainstream, and there wasn't an inclusion of Black or Afro-Caribbean or African fashion. So it was after the success of Africa Fashion Week London in 2011, that the world got to know, about what African fashion really stood for. And the success of the Africa Fashion Week London in 2011, has, given birth to so many Africa Fashion Weeks around the world. So there's hardly any major city in the world that doesn't have its own African-inspired or Africa Fashion Week. So the success of Africa Fashion Week has given birth to so many other Africa Fashion, the growth of so many, or the rise, of, the importance of African fashion. And aside from that, it also, that's okay, Rudy. Aside from that, it also contributes, immensely, to the awareness and the ability, and the visibility, of the African design talent.
Excellent. And you really paved the way, because also what you demonstrated to many others, that there was a market for this and the talent was there. So sometimes that's all the entrepreneurial spirit. You take the risk and then you get it out there and everybody can follow you after.
And everyone follows, yeah. Now I'd say we have about 100 or more Africa Fashion Weeks globally. But prior to the Africa Fashion Week, we didn't have any outside of Africa. So yes, I totally agree. We have paved the way, and it's really great because African fashion it's vibrant, it's bright, it's energetic. I just love the colors. It represents the vibrancy of Africa and the Afro-Caribbean as well. We like colors. We love colors, don't we?
That's right. We really do. Really do. So tell us, how does Africa Fashion Week London allow cultural heritage to flow through fashion?
How does it allow cultural heritage to flow through fashion? I would say that's another impact, of the Africa Fashion Week London, because aside from what I spoke about, having impacted the growth and the rise of so many Africa Fashion Weeks around the globe, there's also the culture and the heritage impact as well. Because when the designers, we have designers from the continent of Africa and also the Afro-Caribbean designers as well, and then the Black designers in the diaspora. And when they come, on the runway to showcase their fashion, to showcase their designs, it comes with a lot of storytelling. In Africa, in the and in the Caribbean as well, we love telling stories. Absolutely. Everything we do is wrapped around storytelling. So when the designers, when they come on the runway, they showcase their cultural heritage, and they do it through fashion. So the platform enables them to talk about their culture, but without saying anything, because some of them come and they're inspired, by their culture. And you start asking questions, sometimes about the fabrics that they use, the interpretations. So it just enables them to showcase their culture, but, without even saying anything, to communicate, their heritage, but through fashion. So that's how Africa Fashion Week London, impacts, our culture and our heritage through fashion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can imagine through the movement, the dance, the music.
Exactly. The
lighting,
music, yes.
That whole environment, I'm sure, again, is an important element as well.
It is, because it just brings the fashion alive. Like you said, the dancing, when the models are on the runway as well, it's phenomenal, and you can't help but ask questions about, the designers, where they've come from, because over the years, we have showcased over 2,000 designers, from the African continent, from the Afro-Caribbean continent, and the diaspora as well. Yeah. To an audience of over 100,000 directly and indirectly. So you can't but help ask questions about, the African culture, but through fashion.
And I can imagine now, because of Afro beats and all the related sounds,
exactly.
that must be, again, an integral part of communicating the message of the fashion designers and where they're coming from, and how they feel and how they want the consumer to feel.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, it's amazing, and I'm sure you'd come and see it this year, and you would be blown away.
Look forward. So, how is Africa Fashion Week London working to educate professionals and consumers on the damaging impact of fake fashion?
Okay. So, during COVID, as a post-COVID initiative, we set up an Indigenous handmade textile training and production hub, in the southwest of Nigeria, here in Ile-Ife. And one of the objectives of the hub is to enable us to sustain, the artisans, and work with women in the rural areas to sustain the practices of, ensuring that our hand-woven or hand-dyed fabrics do not go into extinction. because, we have so many copies out there and the consumers can't even tell, the copies from the original. So what we do is we have seminars, we have talks, we have conversations around ensuring that we sustain, our heritage fabrics, which is our, part of our cultural identity, which is part of our heritage as well. And we also try to encourage people. We tell them that whenever you buy a copy, or a fake of our fabric, you're gradually killing, the livelihood and the work of these artisans that we work with, and you're directly growing the economy that is producing the copies. So that's what we do in terms of trying to sustain our indigenous and heritage cultural fabric or textiles.
Yeah, and that's a really important set of values to support your mission as well. It's really important.
Thank you.
Good to hear that.
Thank you.
So, and you kind of touched on it there. What role do you think Africa Fashion Week London can play in helping to boost the economy across the continent?
Wow, that's a big one. The role of fashion, as a part of the larger creative economy, is really huge. Mm-hmm. And according to the World Bank, Africa would need to create 450 million new jobs for its youth in the year 2035. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's time for African fashion now, because the textile and the garment industry can immediately translate, to economic growth for the continent. Mm-hmm. West Africa alone is one of the largest cotton producing regions in the world. And the textile and garment industry in Africa has the potential to export to almost $735 million. Yeah. So there's a growing demand, for African fabrics and African textiles and African fashion. So by continuing to do what we do at Africa Fashion Week London, which is promoting, creating awareness, visibility, because the more awareness we create for our designers, the more their brand, the demand for their brand grows. And this is a way that Africa Fashion Week, contributes to growing the economy of the African continent.
Absolutely. And of course, being based in London, which is of course, a gateway to global markets as well. So
yes,
effectively what you're doing is creating a front door, a showcase for the continent by being in the interconnected markets such as London, with all the global trade links it has, the financing, the intellectual property, and and of course the consumer markets and the access to Europe.
Exactly, and then also London being one of the major fashion capitals of the world as well.
Absolutely, headquarters.
Headquarters indeed.
So, having said all that, then, what can we expect from Africa Fashion Week London this year? Okay,
so it's a 3-day event, but the event itself is just the tip of the iceberg, because the actual iceberg is the planning of Africa Fashion Week that actually takes about 10 months. However, it takes about 10 months of planning. But having said that, we've been having back-to-back meetings, but, thank God for COVID, we don't have to have physical meetings anymore. So Zoom meeting, team meetings, just to ensure that everything is being put in place. We've had an influx of about 560 applications, to showcase at Africa Fashion Week London this year, and we only have 60 slots. So what our curators are doing at the moment is that they're going through these applications and they're going to choose, the 60 who are going to showcase at the Fashion Week. So the Fashion Week is like, it's a mixture of fashion, We have performances. There's a marketplace, to support Black-owned businesses in the UK. And this year, for the first time, we're including a UK Africa Trade and Investment Summit and Conference and Expo as well.
Excellent. Excellent. That sounds great. And what I'd like to do now is just acknowledge some of the guests who have told us that they will be on the platform. So our first one is Councillor Ntuli, and he represents the Etwini Metropolitan Municipality, and he's the chairperson of Economic Development and Planning Committee from South Africa. So he's based in that Durban area. So
wow, fantastic.
Just like to acknowledge him. So, Queen Ronke, is there anyone else you'd like to acknowledge? I've noticed there's a couple of other people.
Yes, there is. I have a few of my team members with me. I would like to say hello to Councillor for joining us. We do have a delegation of South African designers who attend Africa Fashion Week annually, and they've been doing it for nearly a decade now. So they know the importance of the African Fashion Week London, how important it is, especially to designers who come from the African continent. I would like to introduce our headline designer who's been headlining Africa Fashion Week for a couple of years now, Mary Martin London. She's here with us. I would also like to acknowledge Ambassador Yemi, my colleague from Nigeria, who's going to be whose role is very crucial to the UK Africa Trade and Expo Summit we're having this year.
Thank you. So Mary, could you tell us what your role is this year in Africa Fashion Week London?
Yeah, hello everybody. How are you? I'm actually I'm actually an ambassador for the African Fashion Week. I started doing fashion from 2014. I was on the African continent doing all this different kind of fashion, and then I bumped into African Fashion Week by just stumbling block, just by accident. And ever since I joined them in 2015, I've been on a journey. And basically, I've been very loyal to the African Fashion Week. And I didn't start headlining the show. I started to, like all the other designers, just coming out and doing my clothes. But I started building up a fan base down there. And I found that it was a very, very good platform for me, because being as I was a designer, and I always thought that London Fashion Week was the one which I should be on. But actually, the London Fashion Week was not accepting any Black designers, really. Even when I did my degree at the University of East London, the teacher said, the university lecturer, she said to me, I'm too old to go on the catwalk, let the younger girls go.
Right.
So, the younger girls most probably are working in McDonald's now, and I'm still doing my fashion. So I continued with the African Fashion Week, and with the guidance of Ronke. And, I got to be honest, I've been going there since 2015, and then I built up like a fan base down there, and it's really good because my name got out there. I'm known as an international fashion designer, and I would recommend it to any new up and coming Black or ethnic designer.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, we're on our own. We have to build our own platforms. Where you're not wanted over there, the African Fashion Week, they open their arms to everybody.
Collaboration is really important.
Yeah, collaboration. And basically, so I actually, last year, I think I got the special recognition from the Oni of Effie, Queen Ronke's husband, and also the Queen Moriemi Ajasora Award, which was in December, which they give to 335 women around the world. So there's a lot of opportunities for designers. And you might think, oh, you're going to be stuck in a category, it's African fashion and whatever. But I've always said from the beginning, if you see all my news everywhere, I've always been shut down when I open my mouth to say that African fashion is the best fashion in the whole world. But African Fashion Week is a good platform for any other Black designers out there. I would recommend it.
Thank you. I'd like to bring
Thank you, Mary.
Ambassador Yemi now.
I'm the founder of the World Environment Day Eco Fashion Week, and I also promote African fashion. So this year, we are looking at new strategies in energizing African fashion with a trade expo. And we'll be working on that in collaboration with the High Commission of Nigeria in the UK and also with Nigeria government. So we are also looking at having a UK-Nigeria Trade Expo and then UK-Africa International Trade Expo, whereby we're going to be having a lot of startups in fashion and other fashion accessories to do an exhibition during the Africa Fashion Week London 2023 event.
Excellent. And we're looking forward to that, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador Yemi. Thank you.
You're welcome, Queen.
So before we end this, Queen Ronke, could you just remind everybody once again where they can get more information if they want to get involved, businesses who now think that this is an opportunity for them?
Okay, so if you want to get involved, if you want to participate as a designer, if you want to get involved in the Trade Expo, if you want to be involved as a sponsor, a partner, you can go to our website, which is www.africafashionweeklondonuk.com. And you could drop us an email and let us know how, in what category or what aspect you would like to be involved in the Africa Fashion Week London 2023, taking place on the 27th to the 29th of October during Black History Month for UK.
Right. We've got somebody with their hand up, so we'll just take that just before we go, as they've been on. Laurie, I can just see the first part of the surname. Efiso has a hand up.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my name is Queen Mojisola Ifeshola Ajibade Adebowale, Alaketu, Yoruba land. So it's amazing. Yes, ma'am. My queen, I really appreciate you.
Good evening, yes, and thank you for joining us, Queen. Thank you too.
Yeah, you are really having an impact. I'm proud of you. So
thank you very much.
Yes. So, well, on my side, we planned towards the exhibition, which we're going to have accessories, fashion accessory with ajure, and other parts of it is to have an exhibition on soft furnishing, like duvet, bean bag, etc. So those are the aspects that we're going to exhibit. So we have other aspects that we're looking towards, but because we're still planning towards that, that is the fashion parade, because as the educational consult, we collaborate, partner with Ministry of Education, Lagos State, Ogun State, to groom the children in area of the creative hand, like entrepreneurship, the importance of it. So, but because the processing to get the approval from them, we're still on it. They can get 2 or 3 to mold it with the batik or whatever. So it's my joy to be here, and it's a nice one. So looking forward to the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olori. And what you're doing is amazing as well, especially passing, our heritage to the next generation. Because if we don't pass it on, we'll lose it. So thank you very much for what you're doing, and we look forward to seeing you at the Africa Fashion Week this year. We've never had, I don't remember us having soft furnishings, so that will be something different. And this year, like Ambassador Yemi said, we're showcasing a lot of fashion accessories as well. Our expo this year is beyond fashion. So because we know that we know that the value chain of fashion is huge and humongous. So we're not just sticking to fashion and models on the runway, but other things associated, with the creative industry that can help promote the creative economy of the African continent.
Yeah.
So thank you. We look forward to seeing you there. Thank you too.
It's all right. You're welcome.
I was very pleased to hear that as well, because we always talk about, when we talk about the creative economy, we also talk about, these days, we talk about the 21st century cultural learning and skills. So the cultural learning is about, the 21st century skills, what that is about: collaboration, creativity, communication, critical thinking. And the cultural learning is really about what we always say: culture is the unseen strand that binds people together.
Yes, it is indeed.
And competitive markets. So in all competitive markets, commerce follows culture. So the lesson being that we have to understand our cultural value, and the economic value, and all the skills that go with that. And as you spoke about, the value chain, all those jobs, all those communities, all those young people, all those people we need educated, it's all connected. And
it is all connected.
Communicate across all the different views that we have, and make more opportunities to grow the marketplace for everybody.
Yes, indeed. And one of the best ways, to engage the younger generation is fashion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It is fashion. It's through fashion.
Yeah, Queen Ronke, people have been asking, where is the event this year? Where is it being held?
We're going to be unveiling that shortly, on our social media. We're changing our venue this year because we've been at the Covent Gardens for about, about 5 years now. Yeah, Freemasons Hall, Covent Garden. So we're going to be unveiling our new venue. So stay tuned, keep watching our social media space.
Well, I hope you come back on this platform, Queen Ronke, and do an exclusive announcement. That's my expectation, our expectation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing talking about African fashion, the impact, the cultural heritage, and, the sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And thank you all. Thank you, guests. Thank you, Mary. You've done a lot of good work behind the scenes. Thank you for the connection. And all the other guests, thank you and good night. And this show will be rebroadcast across the Fresh FM Radio London digital platforms and partners in the USA and Canada, and of course on the continent. Thank you and good night.
Good evening, everybody.
Good night.